I'm Alfonso Wenker.
And I'm Trina Olson. And together, we're the co-founders of Team Dynamics.
And this is Behave. For this episode of Behave, we're going to do something a little bit different. Trina has been doing a ton of really brilliant thinking and coaching and writing about hiring. And so I am going to interview her in sort of rapid fire questions to hear what her latest and greatest thinking is about. So many of our clients come to us because they are focused on the diversity, whether it's race or age or gender, of their candidate pools, or the experiences that their staff of color or women or trans folks are telling them that they had, which is usually a bad experience in the hiring process. So before we talk about what you're learning and what you're showing folks are opportunities around every corner in their hiring process, where did you get so much hiring experience?
Good question, because I'm 38 years old. I'm not old enough to have hired as many people as I have, but in fact I am. So I actually started working in door-to-door canvassing to lower the cost of prescription drugs, improve access to child health insurance protection, and more healthcare-related goodies. Part of our job was to get handwritten letters so that legislators understood what was going on in people's lives and their health. Part of our job was to get phone calls to decision makers, and part of our job was to raise money. So the short answer is we had quotas around all three of those things. And there's a pretty intense churn when you have got to accomplish a lot in a short period of time. And so for that reason, in my first 3 years out of college, I was constantly, and by constantly I mean every single week, it was my job to interview a lot of different people, including screening applications, getting folks through their probationary period, figuring out who could be on staff. And then from there, I moved into sort of other roles where it was always my job to be building a team.
So you really, for your whole career, have been thinking about how to write job descriptions and talk to people about what their experiences of a workplace might be, and how to really narrow a pool of interested people into a pool of ready, enthusiastic, willing, and able people.
Yeah, my whole life long, I am trying to build my next right dream team.
I love it. And we're building our dream team here at Team Dynamics. And I'm learning so much from you in that process. And I know that one of the first ways that companies are communicating out about their hopes and dreams is through a job description.
Oh, golly.
And a bunch of our clients lately have asked you to sit with them side by side and redo their job descriptions to attempt to eliminate some of the baked-in bias that we're finding. Oftentimes preferencing whiteness, preferencing masculinity, preferencing extroversion. Right? So I want to know, what are the 3 things you are looking for first as you're helping a hiring manager reimagine their job description? What are sort of the 3 elements that you begin the process by doing or looking for or considering, or questions that you ask?
That's a good and hard question. I'm shutting my eyes so I can think really good. So you've heard me say this before. I've meant it every single time. I am looking to hire people that are smarter than me. And that means smart different, right? It doesn't mean I don't think highly of myself. I'm smart in the ways that I'm smart. I've had my lived experience in my white woman body. I'm gay. I've lived in 18 U.S. cities. I've had the life I've had so far. And what I need on my team is somebody to add. And so part of what I need to figure out in every job description is, how am I looking to add to my team? In what way? And I have to be crystal clear about that and what I'm asking for. I'm not looking for any old kind of person based on what is in front of us. What is it that I want folks to already have baked in? What do I want them to be on fire about? One of the things you know about me as a manager, I'm not interested in cheerleading. It's just not part of my management philosophy. Some people are great at it, and we need those folks in the workplace. But I need folks who are on fire about something. Maybe it's research. Maybe it's innovative ways of doing something. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's analysis, maybe it's clients, right? But like, who am I looking for and what are they excited about and how is that going to be different than what I bring to the table? So the first thing you have to know is, what are you actually looking for? Because not a single hire happens in a vacuum. You're bringing them onto a team, even if it's just a team of two, you and somebody. So what are you looking for? What needs to be different than what you already have?
There's a level of self-awareness and sort of your own work as a leader, as a manager, to be able to say there are things that I could be better at, don't do so well, or things that I need on my team that I don't do or that I can't do. So what does it take what sort of self-awareness work or self-development work does it take for a manager to then put pen to paper to say, I need this on my team and we're better as a team because you are different from me?
This is a great question. So this happened accidentally in 2008. It was my job to be a deputy to a director. It was my friend Moof. We're still really good friends to this day. And I wrote on a piece of construction paper, I folded it, stapled in the middle, and wrote what I called my Moof manual. And I just had one question on each piece of paper because as a deputy, which is a job I love taking care of one person to make sure they can be the best they can be. And so my job was to ask, what is the unique value that you add to the team right now that we need to make sure you're spending most of your time doing? What is really draining or hard for you? What isn't on your plate that you wish was? So that we could actually figure out how to delegate. And I think to this day, I'm still really self-conscious. So you'll even hear me say, no, it's not that I can't do that or I couldn't learn how, but I'm not good at it yet. And the truth is, the way that I can add value to a team is pretty particular. And so it is about asking some really specific questions about where am I feeling drained? Where am I feeling excited? And what would be better, different, worse, problematic if I was or wasn't doing something? So it's this idea of how am I uniquely adding to the team? Being really clear about that, and then what needs to get filled in. We also need it, but I can't do that either because I haven't learned how, I hate it, I don't have time for it. What else has to get done?
I love that set of questions because it allows a manager who's thinking about adding to their team to reflect on how they're leading before they decide, who do I want on this team? I know for me, a lot of times when I've been doing hiring, there's just so much work that I just want to get someone in to help do some of the work. So I'm only thinking about what's on my plate that I want off. But to be able to think about what's draining me, what value am I adding, what could be different or better is so exciting. You've been talking a lot about specificity and clarity. And I know that as you've been helping some of our clients, you've been flagging some pretty standard words or phrases that I think we see in a lot of job descriptions that might have baked in preference or bias, or might just be so unclear that candidates might be wondering if that's them or not. So what are some of those words or phrases or ways people are talking in job descriptions that just could be so much more specific?
Yeah, there are some things that have become best practices that really aren't best for anybody because they're not helpful enough, right? So the biggest example we see is when folks ask for a number of years of experience. It's 2 to 4, it's 5 to 7, it's 10 plus. My question is, what has happened in that number of years? So what is it that you are assuming I know how to do, or know how to do with excellence, or know how to do uniquely, that would have been different at year 3 than year 5? What are you assuming? That I've managed more people, that I've practiced, that I've led sort of multiple brand redesigns? What do you think I have done? Just like when folks put a college degree. What are you assuming, right? So I was on a team that had college degrees in costume design, communication, mathematics, economics, right? And in fact, we were working on marriage for LGBT people, right? And so what is it about a college prereq that you're assuming that we are good at analysis, that we have excellent time management, that we're good writers? Well, what's the actual job, right? And in the US, college is entirely pay to play. We know that people of color are more likely to not have a college degree, right? When we think about folks of different class backgrounds and access, what we're doing is we're creating this hurdle that then leads into this belief that somehow, because somebody, got a background in urban design, that'll make them great at managing a bakery. Like,
right.
What? Right? So it's this idea, again, that we very rarely understand what it is they learned. So rather than ask for these weird, abstract timelines or prereqs, actually say, what do you want them to be excellent at?
So the offer I'm hearing is that folks could shift their language to say something like, we assume a person taking this job will have done the following things before and will be willing to learn how to do these 5 things moving forward.
Well, there's some research right now, we'll link to it in the description, that right now the shelf life of skills in the US is 5 years. Meaning things are changing so fast. It's related to technology, but it's not only about technology, right? So if you're using a piece of software now, that will be at a different version 5 years from now, right? If you have learned analytics in this particular way, or if you have learned targeting in this way, that needs to ever evolve with the way communication channels change. So we're all looking to be part of these ever-changing environments. So again, this assumption that for me, for example, at this point, college was a long time ago for me. And so this idea that something more recent isn't more relevant is kind of wild. And so how do we actually ask about those transferable skills? So one of the things I've said to you that I've had to hire a lot of fundraisers. My favorite people to hire are folks out of the restaurant industry. And the reason why is they work on teams. They work for tips. They got to work fast. They have a goal. They often, in the US, this works, they make good eye contact, right? That's a preference here. And so this idea that this is a person who has hustled for money before, that's a great person to bring onto your team to go raise some money because they've done it, right? And so again, we've just decided that there are whole sectors that are in or out or relevant or irrelevant. And so what you need to know is, what are you looking for? And what are all the different ways people could show you that they're capable of doing that?
Yeah, there's always this assumption when you read a job description. It's like, oh, so you want someone who's doing exactly this same job in this same way somewhere else to leave that exact same job, who's doing the exact same thing, so just come do this completely same thing, but just somewhere else. And then we get disappointed. We're like, oh, I don't know, this candidate pool, no one seems to have done this before.
No, one of my favorite things you and I ever put in a job description was that we were looking for somebody really bossy. We wrote it.
We ever did.
And the best thing that happened was when Stephanie looked at the job description, she was like, yes, I could boss the bosses around. I would be great at that. I am well suited to do exactly that. We knew what the job needed to be. We needed somebody who was going to be really tough on us because we're pretty wily. And so I said, you can't let us get away with missing internal deadlines. Don't let it be okay once or I'll just start doing it. And so she was like, no, I'm going to hold you accountable. And so when you say what you're looking for, we could have said instead, we're looking for somebody really detail oriented, right? And somebody who doesn't drop anything or can juggle multiple projects at a time. I don't know why I go into that voice. That's how it sounds. That got weird.
Announcer voice.
Announcer voice. So there are jobs that we have on our team where you need to be really good at details, but what kind of details? It is different to be able to track details of how adults are having conflict in a room and being really aware in that situation and being an excellent copy editor for a budget. Like, it is a different way to apply those skills. So the more clear we are, and it's not to be flippant. We weren't like, wouldn't this be a funny job description?
Right. We meant it.
Yeah, absolutely. We said, as best we know, given where the business is at and what we know about our leadership style, we need somebody strong in this way. Yeah. And we haven't put it in any other job description because we didn't need the same thing.
So I want to do a quick rapid fire Rorschach test with you.
Ready.
You get 7 words max to react to these things.
Okay, great.
They're words I feel like we see in a lot of job descriptions that could use more specificity.
Yes.
So
it's like a find and replace.
Yes.
Okay, great. It's like control whatever the thing is in Word. Okay, I'm ready.
Effective.
Able to meet goals on time and on budget with regularity.
Passion for mission.
Will drive towards shared goals.
Diverse.
Diverse in what way? We are especially looking for people of different races, ethnicities, religious backgrounds, and abilities.
Bachelor or master's degree in related field.
Oh, God, I only get 7 words. Okay, first, just don't do that. Just do not put that in your job description.
Eliminate degree requirements.
Eliminate it. It's not going to get you a better team by having it. I know that'll feel like moving the finish line because a lot of us had to spend a lot of money. Somehow it feels unfair that some people are going to college and not. Don't put that in your job descriptions. It will mean you get a pool that looks widely similar rather than the diverse set of candidates you are actually saying you want to have.
Well, okay, and I just have to add.
Okay, great.
It's like, I have a PR degree. I know how to write press releases. I haven't written a press release in 5 years. It's like, what does my degree tell you I can do? Write press releases.
Right, and this isn't about vilifying college. You and I actually both went. This isn't about vilifying.
I mostly went to class.
Okay, you did a lot of activities. There is absolutely a cultural conversation about how education is changing in America.
Right.
Meaning that as we move towards sort of trade-based skills, technology, you know, my 8-year-old niece is better at a lot of technology than I am. Right? And it's because she grew up with it.
Totally.
So it's this idea that the skills that we need in the workplace are shifting. There's nothing wrong with going to college. We're not saying don't go to college. We're saying in 2019 and beyond, do not put it on your job descriptions. It is not the difference that makes a difference when you think about who could be excellent in your actual job.
Flexible.
Is able to work in a bunch of different ways and ask for what you need.
Oh, that was so fun. I could keep going. We are working on so many different projects right now that are related to hiring, whether it's executive search, whether it's leadership development cohorts, whether it's just changing the ways we do interview questions and things like that. So I think you'll be hearing a lot more from us. It was really fun to get to ask you because I know some of these projects I haven't been able to touch directly. So thanks for sharing all of your wisdom. We're curious, what conversations about job descriptions are y'all having? Tweet us at Team Dynamics LLC or send your questions to team@teamdynamicsmn.com. Behave is produced by Levi Weinhagen in Studio G at the Glenn Nelson Center. This has been Behave. Make good choices.